Hi everyone, it's Claire Jarvis here at Restore Fitness Therapies, and in this video I wanted to talk to you about how your work environment may be contributing to your back pain. Now, it doesn't matter whether you sit, you stand, or you've actually got a very active job. Any environment can still be exacerbating your back pain or causing back pain, simply because it's the thing that most of us spend the most hours per week doing. So to start off with, sitting, that's probably the most common position for lots of people to be in during their working day now, working in offices or just generally at desks and computers. And the reason it can cause so much pain for people is because you're putting a lot of pressure through your lower back. So lower back pain is particularly common with people who sit a lot during the day. But what you tend to find is it can also affect their neck and upper back, because they may be hunching to look down at a computer, particularly if their desk setup isn't quite right for them, or if they're having to sit too high or hunch down low to get to their keyboard. The other thing is just being on other devices which seem to be getting sort of smaller and smaller and tend to make you hunch inwards and look downwards. It may be that you have to spend a lot of time commuting or travelling. Again, seats feel smaller, or you might be hunched into places or in awkward positions sitting down for long periods of time. So sitting is a very problematic work environment for a lot of people, but it does seem to be a very common one, and it does mean that people are often very sedentary during the day, and that can cause stiffness in their joints, tightness in their muscles, and cause them a lot of pain. Now, because of that, people who sit a lot during the day will often get a standing desk, and then they start standing up all day, and then what they find is that they've still got all the aches and pains, just possibly in different places. Now, standing up all day can be just as problematic. We see this in people who work on sort of assembly lines, for example. Standing up can also put an awful lot of pressure through your lower back as well. And what people will then start to do is shift their weight and stand on one leg. And that pain can start referring down that one leg through one hip, one knee, or one ankle if people aren't standing correctly. So standing up for long periods of time can be just as problematic as sitting down for long periods of time. And then, of course, it depends on what you're doing with your upper body while you are standing up. So if, for example, you're in a car assembly line, you might be going into quite repetitive movements, but quite awkward movements as well, and maybe having to hold awkward positions while you're doing a task. Or it might be that you're constantly sort of twisting in this position here, if you're standing on a line, sort of a production line of some kind as well. So basically, being in any one position for too much time, doing repetitive movements, can be really problematic for us and can cause us a lot of joint stiffness and a lot of muscle tension, which all manifests in pain basically through our back. Now, even if you're someone who has a very active job, you're also, not sort of uncommon that you might get back pain as well. Now, it's not because you're staying in one position for too long or sitting or standing too long. It's probably more likely because you're putting your spine and putting your body under quite a lot of pressure. So people, for example, who are gardeners or builders or removal people as well, tend to have this kind of problem, and their back pain tends to stem from the fact that they're putting their spines under a lot of pressure, maybe lifting very heavy loads and maybe not knowing how to do that carefully and appropriately. So what this kind of shows you is that any work environment has the capacity to be causing you back pain or pain in any other part of your body. So the best advice we can give to people in this situation is to try and do a little assessment of their work environment. And we help people to do that as well, because it can be a bit of an overwhelming task for some people. But it's basically a case of just raising your awareness and having a think about when you're experiencing your pain and what you've been doing that may have caused that. So it's kind of like keeping a little bit of a mini diary for a few days or a few weeks ideally, to help you start to connect the dots and figure out if there are particular times of day, particular activities where you tend to experience this pain the most. And then once you've identified that, you're going to be better able to start making some small adjustments to help you to reduce circumstances which may result in that pain through the body, or just change the way that you do things subtly. But we would always recommend for people that you want to be eating well, to just fill your body with the right nutrition so that your joints can be healthy, your muscles can be healthy, your body can function in its optimal way. And you also need to be exercising as well. And again, this doesn't have to be heavy duty marathon training or things like that, but a lot of us don't get much incidental movement in our day. So it's really important to try and build that into your day, just kind of short 10-minute walks, making sure you're standing up often if if you sit down a lot, or that you do get the chance to sit down if you spend a lot of time standing up, or that if you are labouring and carrying heavy loads, that you get the chance to stop, stand up straight, have a little bit of a stretch out before you sort of carry on with the job. We obviously recommend Pilates massively for people. We work with people across all three of these kind of work environments, and all of them benefit from Pilates because it is gentle, it is low impact, it's suitable for people of all ages and all abilities. It's great for helping you with flexibility, stretching out tight muscles. It's great for mobility, so helping you if you've got really stiff joints here. It helps us build our core strength so we can improve our posture. Posture is something that often goes completely out the window when we've got back pain and things like that. So it really is an absolutely fantastic way to help you kind of manage the stresses and strains of your work environment. So have a little diary management, have a little think about what's going on in your work environment, just see if there may be any triggers there, see what you can do to maybe start to reduce those. But also, if you think Pilates is something you might like to have a go at, we run some really short beginners courses which are a great entry route for people to have a little go at Pilates and see how they get on with it. We specialise in working with beginners and with people with back pain. All our instructors are able to manage beginners and people with back pain and keep you really nice and safe. So if you're interested in finding out any more, we always offer free trials for all of these things, so please do feel free to get in touch with us, and we'd love to have a chat with you about your situation and start helping you on the road to recovery.